Max Verstappen fended off a late charge from Charles Leclerc to win the inaugural Miami Grand Prix and cut his rival's championship lead. Verstappen was in supreme form amid an incredible atmosphere at America's new street track and was comfortable after overtaking both Ferraris early on before a late safety car caused by a dramatic Lando Norris crash led to a thrilling finale as the field bunched up. Leclerc, the pole sitter who lost his lead on lap 7, suddenly found pace again in the closing stages as the title protagonist battled once again, but could not get ahead of Verstappen despite having DRS. Verstappen held his nerve and became the Miami Grand Prix winner, ensuring he claimed victory in all three races he's finished this year. Despite the two DNFs, he's cut Leclerc's title lead to 19 points. Carlos Sainz secured final podium position for Ferrari, holding off Red Bull's Sergio Perez, who had fresh tyres at the end of the race but was also plagued with a lack of engine power. George Russell and Lewis Hamilton placed 5th and 6th for Mercedes in more damage limitation for the world champions, with Russell ahead of his teammate Hamilton for the 4th race in a row. Russell started 12th but ran long before the safety car played into hands. Russell twice got ahead of Hamilton afterwards with his fresh tyres, once on lap 51 but off the track, with Mercedes telling him to give the position back, and then with 3 laps later, but this time legally. Valtteri Bottas, who had run ahead of the Mercedes for most of the race, was forced to settle for 7th after he ran wide and hit the concrete while under pressure from the Silver Arrows. The major incident of the race came on lap 40 with a frightening crash for Lando Norris. The incident happened after Pierre Gasly, who was running slowly in his AlphaTauri after contact moments earlier with Fernando Alonso. As Norris came speeding past, Gasly was seemingly unaware, and his left front tyre caused the McLaren rear right, causing it to fly off and for Norris to go spinning. Gasly also retired from the race soon after, while Alonso was handed the 5-second penalty for his optimistic move on the Frenchman. After the race, the Spaniard was handing a second penalty for leaving the track and gaining advantage, relegating into 11th. Those penalties set Esteban Ocon, who recovered from the back of the grid, promoted to 8th, while Alex Albon moved up to 9th and Stroll 10th. There was also a late collision at turn 1 between good friends Sebastian Vettel and Mick Schumacher, with the Haas driver avoiding a penalty, but it ruined both of their hopes of points on Sunday. Kevin Magnussen and Stroll also made contact in a feisty last few laps. It was an electric afternoon in Miami and certainly a start of the event, although the real star in F1 returns was Max Verstappen, the reigning champion, who started 3rd after a qualifying mistake but quickly made up for that, passing Sainz at the start before handing down Leclerc. With a straight line speed advantage, he dispatched his rival with both Ferraris overtaken at the same turn 1 corner. Leclerc was struggling with his tyres and Verstappen built significantly 7 seconds ahead after the first steps and seemingly managing his way to victory. Norris and Gasly's incident threw a spanner in the works, and there was seemingly been plenty of in the Red Bull garage as Leclerc found his place and put Verstappen under pressure, but the Dutchman kept his cool amid the intense Miami heat. "I am incredibly happy with winning here in Miami. It was an incredible Sunday for us," he said afterwards. It would have been even better for Red Bull had Perez made his way through with engine gremlins, causing him to lose power and hampering his battle for 3rd. That having said though, they gained points on Ferrari in both championships. Ferrari meanwhile will be desperate to halt Red Bull's building 2022 momentum with the straight line speed deficit a huge concern for them. And yeah, you do feel like if they want to compete with this Red Bull car the whole season, and yeah, that has to be improved and pretty fast. But anyway, it started as a promising weekend for Mercedes, topping Friday practice, but ultimately finished another disappointing one as they were comfortably the 3rd fastest team in Miami. Hamilton eventually finished where he started, having lost positions at the start amid a bump with Fernando Alonso. He was then unable to get close to his former teammate Valtteri Bottas before the safety car. While he finished ahead of Bottas, his streak of finishing behind Russell continued. It was another unfortunately timed safety car for Hamilton. He toyed with pitting for fresh tyres but eventually stayed out, leaving him somewhat of a sitting duck to his teammate. Russell meanwhile continues to impress, and his comeback has to be one of Sunday's top stories, even if it was tainted with a slight bit of luck. But anyway, the F1 season continues in 2 weeks with the Spanish Grand Prix joy. But moving on then to the final race classifications before I go, and obviously Max Verstappen winning. Yeah, great race from him, and definitely had the best race car. I think just qualifying would be slightly frustrating for him, but you know, made up for it in the race. Leclerc and Sainz probably the maximum they can do today, so that'll be fine. For Perez, I think it's a bit of a what-if race really. Yeah, without that horsepower deficit, what could he have done on newer tyres at the end? And then you've got the team Mercedes. Russell, like I've touched on, obviously very fortunate to be ahead of Hamilton, but you know, good points for them. That's really the maximum they can do at the moment. Bottas in 7th, and yeah, obviously made a bit of a mistake at the end, which is frustrating, but you know, still drove a great race and definitely carrying Alfa Romeo at the moment. Ocon in 8th. Yeah, from back of the grid, I think that's a good recovery. And then you've got Albon and Stroll in 9th and 10th. That's obviously really good points for both of those teams at the back. Albon seems to be having a great season so far, just needs to keep the red head, and yeah, Stroll with points, I think he'll be pleased with that. And then you've got Alonso missing out on the points. Yeah, really, really poor race from Alonso, to be honest. Just seems to be in the wars a lot. Has had no luck this season, but yeah, I don't think this was his best race, to be honest. And then you got Ricciardo outside of the points, which is obviously frustrating for him. Obviously got a penalty which cost him. And McLaren, yeah, just in hot conditions, him and Norris didn't have the pace. Even Norris was only on for a few points before the safety car. And Tsunoda as well, kind of was nowhere this weekend, which is a bit of a shame after such an impressive performance last time out. Latifi kind of the same, but we're used to that now. Schumacher, yeah, I mean, like, just gutting for him. When's that first point going to come? It seems to be the never-ending quest. Magnussen, again, seems to be in a bit of a wars towards the end of the race. And yeah, was with Stroll, so maybe could have got a point, but in the end, it wasn't to be. Haas picking up no points at their home race. I think they'll be disappointed with that. And then you've got Gasly, obviously having contact with Norris was a bit of a shame for him. So yeah, he'll be frustrated with that. But there's only minor points available. And yeah, with Alonso contacts, his race was pretty much run anyway. Vettel with the Mick Schumacher contact, so frustrating for him because I think he would have been on for points there in his Aston Martin. But anyway guys, that's the video. Thanks very much for watching. To like, share, subscribe, any thoughts, comments down below, follow us with things, description for daily F1 news, and subscribe to the channel and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace!